Before we jump into our episode, Brian and I recorded yesterday, and then I realized we got so excited about chatting that we actually forgot to completely introduce him and where you can find and follow him. So, Brian is available to follow on Instagram and TikTok at Midnight Film Review, as well as listen to that podcast. He also does another podcast called Late Fees Files. It's excellent. You can follow again on Instagram and TikTok. Brian's one of my very favorite creators out here. I've been on an episode of the Midnight Film Review, and he's also been on a previous episode here with the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade that I dropped in the summer. So thanks again, Brian, for coming on. The other thing I want to chat about is that this week we are reviewing One Battle After Another, which feels more relevant by the day. We recorded this, about a week after the murder of Renee Good by the ICE agent. It feels so relevant, this film. And both Brian and I we chat a little bit about it in the One Battle After Another in the context of the film, but what is happening out there is so horrible, and just our hearts go out to everyone involved. I'm sending love here from Canada. I don't live in the States. Brian does. He is from the States, and both of us are just watching what's going on and just are horrified and want everyone to know that we're sending our prayers. We're doing what we can from our specific avenue as content creators to advocate for the people and to talk about how horrible this is, as well as in our own personal lives, having those discussions and doing what we can from those angles. Fuck ICE, in summary, and remember that we, even though that we are different, we're all human and we need to care for each other. And that I guarantee you, you've more in common with somebody that you've been told is your enemy than not. Whether or not somebody is, you're illegally, in quotations, or not, you're still a human. No one deserves this. No one. This is what ICE is doing is horrendous. What happened in Minnesota is a tragedy. What is happening every single day from this administration is abhorrent. And so we'll chat a little bit about it, obviously, as it relates to One Battle After Another. But I just wanted to come on here and before we start and just say that, and then obviously to chat about where you can follow Brian as well, and just say that, the two of us are doing what we can to advocate for people, and we really deeply care about what's happening right now, and we are sending our prayers to everyone. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I hope it provides some thoughts on the matter, maybe a little bit of relief. Brian and I we have quite a cordial relationship. We've become friends outside of the podcast. We joke around quite a bit, and we try to find some levity within all of this, as well as breaking down the film and chatting in and around other subjects. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Get Your Popcorn. Today, we're reviewing Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, and we have a returning guest. So, Brian, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back on. I'm glad that I did well enough to get invited back on.
Well, of course you did.
Oh, okay.
And then I was on your podcast as well. We did Freakier Friday, which was super fun. But in the first one, when you and I were discussing movies and which directors you liked, Paul Thomas Anderson was your guy. And then when One Battle After Another released, I was like, I have to have Brian back on.
Thank you.
It would feel disloyal to talk about Paul Thomas Anderson with anyone else.
I might have got my feelings hurt.
So did you see this when it came out right away in the theaters, or when did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it opening night. I couldn't wait. This is the first movie of his I did see on opening night, ever.
Mm-hmm.
Just throughout my life, I haven't. Back in, I would say around The Master, that's when he first started getting wide release. Because at the beginning, he didn't have a lot of wide release films. And so I live in a smaller town and there's not a lot of showings of those things. So this was I was like, I have to see this opening night. Yeah. And it was me and 10 other people in there.
Yeah, I got to it a little bit later than opening night, and then I just watched it again today, actually, because I wanted it to
cool.
I wanted it to be super, super fresh
Mm-hmm.
in my brain. And this is the first, it wasn't until I got into film talk that Paul Thomas Anderson became a lot more on my radar of people to watch, where I had seen some of his films before. There Will Be Blood, of course, and Boogie Nights and The Master, but I had never really put it all together. This was one where I was like, as soon as I heard the director's name, I flagged it and I was like, okay, I'm going to review this with Brian Snowden.
Yes. I'm so happy. Have you seen all of his movies? Have you like
Not all of them, just the ones that I have listed.
Okay. Yeah. I think that if you so you've seen The Master, did you say?
Yeah, actually, I worked at a video rental store and it came out, so I saw it after it was in theaters, but before it was actually officially released on DVD.
That's it, man. I've talked to a few people that worked at rental stores, and that was my dream job, and I never got a chance to. So I'm a little envious of that.
Oh, so
But
good.
if you were able, like, I would say The Master is like his most unaccessible film in terms of like people. I took my wife to see it, like not opening night, but when I went to the theater and saw it, and I told her beforehand, I was like, "You don't have to watch this movie with me. I will go by myself." But she like hated when I'd go to the theater by myself for some reason, and I love it. And I was like, "Just you don't have to go." And she was so mad at me. She hated it. She was like, "Why did you take me?" I was like, "I told you not to come. I told you not to come." So if you can watch that, I feel like you can almost watch any of his films.
My husband and I had a very similar experience when he insisted upon going to Nosferatu with me. And I was like, you don't like horror movies, you don't like fantasy, and you don't like vampires, and you think goth stuff is stupid. You make fun of me all the time. And he's like, oh, but I love you. I'm like, I know you're trying to be sweet, but we're going to fight. I'm like, okay, but we're going to have a fight on the car ride home. I hope you know.
You're gonna be miserable. Just trust me. I know you.
Yeah. The second, I don't think his foot left the theater yet. And he's like, why would you make me watch this? I'm like, I didn't make you.
I love it. I love it. Do you mind going to the theater by yourself? Is that
Oh
something
no,
that,
I love it. I'd
yeah.
rather do it alone because I don't there's a few people I like to go to movies with because I'm like, I want to know your thoughts. I love my husband with my whole heart. I truly don't give a fuck about his reviews on movies. Love him, don't care. It's
I
wrong.
I'm the same way. Like when you were saying that, I'm like, oh, this is me. I would there's because and I don't know if you're this way, but like certain people that you go, I'm like, are they having a good time? Are they enjoying this? Like, do they hate it? Like,
Yeah.
and I don't want to worry about that. Like, I don't want them to feel like I dragged you to a bad movie. So like, I'm the same way. Like, there are movies that I know that as a family or with her that she'll enjoy. Like, and I am excited to take her to see like Freakier Friday. She couldn't wait for it. I was so excited to watch that with her.
Yeah.
But it's like some movies, it's like, I'm just gonna go see this by myself. Like I would prefer to see a lot of movies alone.
Yeah, Owen's gotten a bit better with like sussing out what he can go and see. And like when I like tell him, I'm like, you're not gonna like this, just don't. Or he'll believe me when I tell him something's good. I'm like, no, trust me, you gotta go see this. So it's sometimes if I'm on the fence, I'm like, I'll go. And if I like it, then we'll go again.
Yeah, there you go. I've pulled that trick too. Exactly.
Yeah.
We sound like we have very similar spouses.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I love him. He's great. And there's certain things where like I think Jumanji's coming out again. There's another Jumanji coming out in 2026 and I'm like, "Oh, we'll go see that." I know you'll like that. That's
Yeah,
you movie.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm excited to talk about this film. It feels more relevant by the day. Um every time I
Unfortunately.
open my phone and we inch closer to World War III. Um Yeah, watched it today, and it was funny when I watched it the first time. There were moments that I found slightly like I found the movie kind of funnier the first time, and then the second time, I think just because it feels so much closer where we are now,
Mm.
I'm like, this isn't funny. Like this is terrifying. Like there's little moments where I was like, okay, like some of Sean Penn's characters just so silly, but
Yeah, I mean, the stuff with Benicio del Toro is hilarious. I watched it
just
this past weekend to kind of get
there's
caught
so
up on
many.
it. Yeah. And I think he's fantastic in this movie. He honestly stole the movie in a lot of ways for me, which is not surprising. He's fantastic and everything. But yeah, a lot of the stuff with him, and we'll get into it obviously, but I think his stuff was still really funny, especially when he makes him jump out of the car. So that
Yeah,
was great.
like he's like 4, 4, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yes, it's definitely I didn't really know what to expect going into it because I just didn't well, I just sometimes when there's something coming out, I don't even, like, open Film Talk or TikTok. I'm like, "No, la, la, la,"
Yeah.
like, I just wanna find out what happens in the moment, and you were, like, pretty much gripped, like, for me at least, I felt like from the second the movie starts through the whole 2 hour and 40-minute runtime, it's like, I found the pulse of it so quick compared to something like The Master, which is so kind of methodical and slow.
Yeah. this is probably, and I know that Paul Thomas Anderson got a lot of money to make this film. I think this is his, so I said, The Master was his least accessible film. This is probably his most accessible film. I think that this is the closest thing to a blockbuster film that he's ever made. And it's still, has the fingerprints of him all across it. But even the second time watching it, the movie, it doesn't, the length is perfect. I feel like it moves right along, because I was kind of concerned about the time jump in the movie, and I was like, how is this going to play? Because, Leo's a little bit older than me, we're closer in age, and it's like, the time jump is significant. It's not like it's 3 years later or something, it's a big time jump. So I was like, how's that going to play out? But I felt like it was handled really well, and I was actually like, impressed with, because time jumps they can be iffy in movies, and I thought that was really actually well done, and in context of the film, it makes so much sense.
Yeah, and they must have done either like some, I don't know if they did for the earlier scenes with both Sean Penn and Leo, whether or not they aged them down via, I didn't even look it up, via like CGI or makeup or what they did, but they definitely softened so many lines in both of them that I was watching it and I was like, wow, Leo's looking good. And then the time jump and I was like, oh no, like I was tricked.
Yeah, right. I don't know either. That's not something that because I mean, knowing Paul Thomas Anderson, he doesn't like to use a lot of, digital effects. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was makeup, knowing him.
Yeah, I was very impressed overall with the film. I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I don't know, what'd you give it?
I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd as well. I think so I like, I like doubling it and figuring out if it's an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
So I like doing out of 10. I think I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. So pretty much the same score as you. My overall thoughts are, so here's the thing. I think Paul Thomas Anderson is the best screenwriter in Hollywood right now. And this is, people, hey, come at me, bro. He might be the best screenwriter of all time. I think if you look at his movies, what makes his film stand out is his ability to write character and dialogue, and it's top notch. Regardless if you think he's the best, he's definitely one of the best. And surprisingly, my biggest issue with this film is the script. I think that there are parts, and I don't know how you want to attack this, but that last act is really messy in a lot of ways from a screenwriting standpoint. And that was like the thing that I think hurt it the most for me. Obviously, I think it's a great movie, but I think it was surprising to me, some of the plot holes and some of the character moments that were kind of just skipped over or brushed aside in the last act. It definitely is not what I expect from a Paul Thomas Anderson film.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. And like, we can jump around, it's fine. That last like 10 minutes for me too, where I was like, what? We're now using cell phones?
Yeah, right.
You didn't overthrow anybody. One guy died. Like,
right. Yeah, this one dude, right? Like, the system is still in place. It's just, yeah. No, I'm with you. Like,
yeah, I still know you're part of the French 75 there, Ghetto Pat.
Ghetto Pat is such a great name too, by the way. That's the other thing real quick. The names in this are so good. Like, all the character names are just perfect. I love them all. But like the one for me, like at the end, and you said it's okay to skip around, so I'm assuming we're gonna spoil stuff. But like, the one thing that really bothered me is, like, specifically at the end of the movie, that car chase is so brilliantly shot. And it's just like, visually, it's so stimulating. But there's two parts of that I felt were just convenient for the plot. Like, they were just plot conveniences. And I felt like you could have easily written in some stakes there. Like, one is, how did anyone know that she was in that car when they were chasing her? Like, how? Like, to me, it's like, there's no way of knowing that was her. But I totally forgot the hitman, whatever, the Christmas gang send after her, that guy, the Christmas, you know what I'm talking about, the Christmas Adventures Club.
Virgil Throckmorton?
Virgil. We'll just call him Virgil.
Virgil, I think it's this guy, yeah.
But it's like, how did he know that she was in that car? Like, you could say, well, she was the only car that was out, but it's like, you could give me some clue or some context to why he knew it was her. It was just felt like it was just that's a very like blockbuster Michael Bay thing to do, you know? Sorry, shots fired at Michael Bay's Catching Strays. But then the other thing was, you know, the moment that trying to think, I want to make sure I should have looked at I should be getting the names right, but the native who is that lockjaw hands off Chase Infinity's Willis character too, right? You know, he all of a sudden decides because this white supremacist Nazi calls him a name that's the moment that he's going to flip. I just felt like that was just so convenient for the plot.
Hmm.
Like you could have had a moment where like you could have had that those like needling of that character throughout, him maybe standing up for himself or just something, but it's like he's literally I mean he's committing suicide for this girl at this point. They have no connection at all. Why even bring her to these people? Like he knows who they are. He knows it just that whole situation felt really just convenient for the plot to push it forward, and it felt like it wasn't a PTA script. Like it felt like something that you would see in like an action movie that doesn't care about those kind of things. So those were things that kind of stuck out to me.
Yeah, I think my biggest issue with the film, um, besides some of the and like I think you and I discussed last time, it's like script based stuff isn't I like plot hole stuff. Like I'm not always the best at deducting some of that stuff. But for me, it was the way that the female characters were written.
Mm,
I felt like they were, and I've seen a little bit of discourse on this about line, but like they lean pretty heavily into black stereotypes of women, and
mm,
I was unsure if particularly in that first sequence, like when we've got Teyana Taylor who was fucking crushed it
so
so
good.
good.
So
My wish issues with the film has nothing to do with the way these women portray their characters. But Cassandra Beverly Hills, the way she's written and shot, I'm like, am I uncomfortable because the film wants me to be uncomfortable? Or am I uncomfortable because I don't like the way the women in this are being
mm,
shot and made to look. Like there was so much, and like I didn't love the way that postpartum was handled in the film too, and the way that just the way that Cassandra's character in general, I was like, it really, and then part of that's due to the lack of screen time that she has. But like something like postpartum, like all it did was make her look like a
mm.
villain. When it was like, well, you got this badass revolutionary chick pregnant who's hell bent on changing the world. You didn't think she was gonna want to keep doing that? Like,
Yeah, I definitely hear you. So it definitely it's hard. Like I in a lot of ways don't feel like I'm the right person to like talk about it. Obviously, you know, I'm neither a woman nor a minority, so it's tough to talk about.
hmm
I do, you know, I do wonder how much Paul Thomas Anderson drew from his wife, right?
yeah,
So I mean, he is married to Rudolph, who obviously is mixed of mixed race. So, you know, it's hard to know like if he brought her in. She's not credited as a writer, so it could be nothing. But I truly believe that in some ways like this movie is kind of an allegory of him. Like,
yeah,
right? And I'm not saying that character that him and his wife mirror those characters, but I think that the idea of being a revolutionary, like I kind of think that this is like him telling a little bit of his story of like how he's changed from when he was younger and the way he looks at things now. That's not being I'm not giving an excuse. I'm just saying like that, you know, from a male white male perspective, maybe that was it. I don't know. But I definitely understand, and it's very hard to like not because I felt the same way watching it. I was like, man, this is like a lot of these right, these stereotypes are they're kind of on the nose, like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Then, you know, I've also heard African American women say they identify with the character. So again, I think,
It,
go ahead.
it's tough, and I'm also like yes, I'm a woman, but obviously, like, I mean, this is a video podcast. Like, I'm so white,
Yeah. Yeah.
so white. This is actually a cream wall behind me, and it is much. I look paler than that wall. Um, but yeah, so it was hard too, and I was like, how am I supposed to feel? Does the movie want me to feel this way? Like, so I was like, I was in my own head a little bit about it. However, like Teyana Taylor, I was like, she's incredible. I'm so happy she got that Golden Globe, and I'm rooting for her at the Oscars. My God, I hope she gets nominated.
Definitely one of the best top 3 performances of the year for me. Absolutely. And probably the only performance that I think might have been better was Nick Offerman in Sovereign. I don't know if you've seen Sovereign.
Mm-mm.
I would highly recommend it. That's a very brutal true story that like just broke me. So many great films this year, by the way.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like him, Tana Taylor, and Michael B. Jordan. Like those are like the 3, and I would throw Benicio del Toro in there as well. Are just like some of the best performances of the year. I think, yeah, she has more charisma in her pinky than I do in my entire body. Just when she's on screen, it's like the camera can't stay on her long enough. It's like I can't wait to see what she does next because she has a chance to just, hopefully she has an awesome, awesome agent, and hopefully she doesn't get pigeonholed into dumb projects that like, because Hollywood likes to do that, especially with African American. Hopefully she doesn't get pigeonholed into a stereotype because she can be on that stage for years to come for sure.
And she's like, her credits, I was looking her up because I was like, why don't I know who this woman is?
Yeah.
At 15, she choreographed the video Ring the Alarm for Beyonce. 15.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
I read that in an article and I about crap my pants. Like, what?
Yeah. And starred and choreographed in Fade by Kanye West. Didn't realize that was her. Which is crazy. Not that I'm a big Kanye West fan or anything, but I mean it's still insane. Like to be so young, and it's like, why haven't I heard of this girl who choreographed something at 15? Like,
Right. Yeah,
I
I
love
know.
Beyonce. Why is this the first time I'm finding out a 15-year-old choreographed that?
Insane. Like absolutely insane that she is that talented. And uh I think that we've only scratched the surface too with her, honestly. Like I
Mm.
really truly believe that. Like and it, she made quite a few films. She wasn't never really like a lead or a star, but she was in, she's been circulating around Hollywood for a while,
Mhm.
and I'm just really happy that she got her breakthrough in this because she is awesome in this movie. One thing I wanted to mention too is, and I wanted to make a TikTok video on this, but again, I just didn't feel like I was the right person. But it was crazy because right around this time this movie came out, Asada Shakur died. And that is who that character is loosely based on. So I encourage anybody who doesn't know who that is, Wiki is not always the best, but it's not the worst. So, you definitely check out Shakur's Wikipedia page and just kind of learn about her. She was a revolutionary at Black Panther Party. There are questions of whether or not she did what was accused of her. Obviously, we know that the FBI has not been shy about, sabotaging people, especially in civil rights movements in the Black community. But she fled and she spent the last, 40 years or so in exile in Cuba. So just highly recommend checking out her wiki and just like kind of learning who this character is based on, because he hasn't came out and said it, but it's pretty obvious when you read their stories that this is probably who he drew from.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't find that out until after I watched the movie, and then I went on a little deep dive after seeing, I can't remember somebody's post a while ago when the movie came out about it. Yeah, it's pretty incredible, and I just, like I said before, like it feels, yeah, but growing by the day, like particularly like seeing with these ICE raids and stuff, like that first scene, I was like, I think they're at a detention center, and it's just like, I don't know. It was like, it was a really, I had to stop, like I had to watch, the second time I watched it, I had to stop and then come back. So I
Yeah.
was like, I can't, it's so close in a way that I think it didn't feel like before, or at least like maybe that is just because I'm white, didn't feel as close to me before. I obviously, like, for anybody that doesn't know, like, I'm Canadian, like I don't live in the United States, so we often are like slightly more like, we're geographically removed, and like we make fun of you guys a lot for being crazy.
Right.
We're mongering humans.
It's, it's America is the United States is such a vast country. Like there's just, the population is obviously huge. We're big. And even though I live here, sometimes, like things happening in Minnesota or on the West Coast, it doesn't feel real because it's like it's not happening near me. But
Yeah.
right close to around when this movie, no, I guess not when it came. Man, maybe it was right around when it came out. I should have looked this up beforehand, but there was a raid on a restaurant not too far from where I live, and the owner was Mexican, Hispanic, and his family, and he was detained, and it was like very, very intense. And he's an American citizen, and so like our community really rallied around it. People they had fundraisers, and obviously he's okay now, but I mean his kids and his family are scarred for life after that.
Yeah.
So it's like when stuff happens, even though it's in America, like I said, sometimes it's hard to get like, even though we have social media and we have YouTube and television, it's hard to sometimes connect because, I'm in Ohio, things are happening in Minnesota. That's, that's 500 miles away.
Mhm.
But when it happens close to you and people that I didn't know the family, but I knew people who were friends with him, right? I knew people who knew his kids. My son had friends that were friends with his family. And so like just it hits you in the face and then you realize like this is happening every day all across America, right? And I don't, we could talk politics for hours. I don't know exactly what the answer is at this point. And as an American, I can tell you that a lot of people, even people that I know that voted for Trump, are not happy. Like ICE is probably one of the least respected, most hated institutions in America, right? Because, I don't want to speak out of turn. Yeah, I didn't vote for Trump. I know people who did, but I think when they wanted a crackdown on immigration, this is definitely not what they have envisioned. And you can call them stupid, whatever, but it's the truth. And it's like, you've opened up this box now that I don't know how it's going to be shut. And it's really sad. And it's heartbreaking that people like Benicio del Toro's character every day have to be prepared for this,
Mhm.
It's hard.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know what the answer is. And our country is so, I mean, it's starting to break apart now, but so economically linked to your guys's that we've always like somewhat followed suit by, I mean, and obviously like American culture dominates everything worldwide, in terms of like arts, music, whatever's coming out generally like is at least mainstreamed by America. It is really crazy to watch my country start to crack in half
Mm,
too.
hmm
It's been odd to watch people in my country really look at what's happening in the United States and go, "I want that here." And you're
mm.
like, "Are you watching the TV?"
That is bizarre because
And
honestly,
people are like, "Oh, well," because I posted something and I shared something, and, like, I have never had a problem with people voting conservative, like, in my life, because when we're talking about things like, "How much defense spending do you like? How much do you think we need to give people tax breaks so that they can choose to
hmm
invest in what they want, or do you think that we need more government subsidies?" In a way that's like, like we're talking about nickels and dimes kind of
hmm
stuff. I'm like, I've never had an issue, and, like, for the first time in my life, I'm like I had to be like, are you a conservative or are you, like, a Trump? Do you like
right.
Trump?" Like, I'm like, it's just weird, and, like, to watch people in my country, particularly, we call it Canadian Texas, Alberta is, like, a province here,
hmm
to watch them, like,
mm.
love Trump, their leader went to Mar-a-Lago, you're like,
I
"What is happening?" It's crazy, and, like, I don't know, and, like, it's weird because like, I know everything's political,
yeah.
but I just think that at the like, and maybe this is, like, the dumb woke lefty that I always get commented on TikTok, libtard or whatever, like, I don't know, like, I just look at other people's kids and I see, like, my kids looking back like,
hmm No.
like, and I think about moms that are born across a border somewhere, and they're like, "Wouldn't you do what you could?" Like, I don't know, like, maybe, and again, maybe that's just the, I don't know, idealized lefty in me, but I'm just like, "Man, like, there's some things I don't agree with, but I never think a person needs to be in a detention center."
There has to be a level of dehumanization to be okay with it, right?
Yeah.
And that isn't something that happens overnight.
No.
I talked about this. So I was on the Goodwill podcasting episode talking about this film, and I brought this up. So anybody who knows me, I used to consider myself a libertarian, which is not the same as it used to be, right? So like, and just so people understand, is like old school libertarians, one of the platform things they stood on was abolishing ICE, right? So like
Yeah.
we've been supporting abolishing ICE forever, and but most libertarians are considered right wing, but you know we're mainly for economic and pro gun stuff, right? So they're like, you know, super capitalistic, super pro gun, but we're super anti war. We think that all drugs should be legal, that there shouldn't be an FBI or an ICE even, that the less government, the better in terms of armed forces, right? We see how the government uses these things against its own population. So the more power, and that's the thing is, once they get power, they don't give it up. We've seen that in Germany. We've seen it everywhere. So anyways, I'm saying all that to say that, like, I don't know that I still identify that, because that I think that term has been bastardized by Trump. Again, he just grabs things and makes it his own, and then, you know, uses it for whatever he wants, and then throws it in the garbage can when he doesn't need it anymore. But one thing I talked about on there is like the way that America has used immigration is crazy, because if we look back to the 80s, right, the Republican god Ronald Reagan, he was super pro immigration, and he amnestied 1 million illegals, as what they were called. He amnestied 1 million legals into the U.S. And then, you know, throughout the 90s, Bill Clinton was super anti-immigration. And then, you know, the majority of Hispanics voted for George Bush. George Bush had the largest group of Hispanics vote for him ever, because they were all about it. And then something happened during the Bush administration, and all the right-wingers all of a sudden became anti-immigration. Now, obviously, we know that the majority of the immigrants, that the reason that the right kind of wanted immigrants to come in was for cheap labor, right? That I'm just being honest. Like, I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying, like, that's why they supported illegal immigration or easy immigration, because it was low. They could pay lower wages. That's kind of started to flip under the Obama administration, and then Obama, you know, was the got the majority of the Hispanic vote, and then Trump came around and was like this huge anti-immigrant president, and which is, to me, I just laugh at it, because it's like, your Republicans were super pro-immigration for like 30 years, and then this guy comes along, and now because he says he's a Republican, you now hate immigrants, and it's just, much like other third world parts of the country, of the world, most other third world countries, these people are just being abused by the American political system, right?
Mhm.
Honestly, like, I just, that's what I think is the most disgusting thing, is they're being dehumanized. They're being used as political capital, and they're either, you know, like you said, like babies in cages is a thing, and whether it's one or it's 1,000, it's not right. It's not
Yeah.
okay, right? Like, and if you have kids like you and I do, it's like, I'm with you. I think about that all the time. Is like, I am fearful for my son, and like, if you like think about those kids, like, and what they have to experience, and they see they're. I mean, it gives me anxiety just even thinking about like putting children through that, and it's just,
Mhm.
I don't know. It's terrifying. We got way off the movie topic, so I'm sorry, but
I think we're still right in it too, though. Like, it's like the level, and it's interesting. Like, if we're comparing, I mean, to bring it back to the movie, somebody like Trump is the way, like, he very similar to a character like Lockjaw,
mm-hmm,
who has this fascination, this fetishization of Black women. He loves Black women, put in quotations, loves them,
mm-hmm,
but only in a dehumanizing way. And then to watch him, like, when he has that amazing scene with Chase Infinity when she's running the DNA, and he's like wrestling with like his like weird desire to, like, I don't know, it was like really fucked up to watch. You're like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Is this gonna change his mind?
mm-hmm.
Is he having flashbacks? For a minute I was like, oh my God, is he gonna rape her? I'm like, what is happening? This is
It is a great scene. It is a very tense scene. You're right. And that, I mean, that scene is one of the best scenes of the year too, I think. Because you can see the emotion in Sean Penn, like you said, that character is going from, like, you can tell a part of him like wants this to be his child, but then a part of him knows that if it is his child, he's going to have to kill her or get rid of her. And because he wants to be a part of this organization that he feels like is going to give him some sort of power. And it's all about power. This movie's all about power dynamics. And it's something that I don't understand. Like, I've never wanted to, like, And I'm sure we all have some kind of desire to have some kind of power and control, but like to have like that kind of power and control over people's lives is just like a weird, like you have to be a complete psychopath to want that. And the scary thing is those people exist, and one of them is running for our country. Like, and
Yeah.
so it's like you can see like the almost the humanity in Lockjaw at times, right? Because like obviously
Yeah.
he is a human. He's not, he's not like completely evil, but it's like he can't tap into that humanity enough to make him a good person. That scene is absolutely just it is riveting. You're right. It reminds me a lot of a Safdie film, right? Like you're on the edge of your seat, like what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it was intense. It's been a hot minute since we've seen Sean Penn really like bring out the Sean Penn. And I was like, we're back, baby. I knew you could do this. Like he's a he's a fantastic actor that has spent 20 years in the I mean, he's a garbage person. Like he is so good. It was so I was like, oh, I'm so glad you're utilizing your talent. I hope he at least gets nominated for something. He was so good. But and just somebody that you're just and this is like my gold standard of like villains, like Dolores Umbridge from like the Order of the Phoenix. Like you just love to hate, like you just
Mm,
hate them. And he was just like, and they only let you just a little bit. She know what similar character dynamics where she's willing to just like murder children to get where she wants for
yeah,
power. But
yeah.
yeah, it was just so good. I was like, and that scene was just like all of it when they're driving and it was like, so intense. And like, yeah, the same thing. It was a very similar feeling to how I felt when I watched The Departed for the first time, where
Mm.
you're like, your heart is just going.
Yeah, I think that like some people had issue with the way that character ended, and I do think I think it would have been honestly a better end if he would have died in the car crash. But there is a little bit of satisfaction that he thinks I don't know that comes from him thinking like, okay, he made it, and then they kill him. You know what I mean? It was like,
Mhm.
no, you were never going. That's the thing is like, he was never going to be a part of them, right? Like he was never truly going to be a part of this. Of the Christmas Adventures Club. So, like, I don't know. Part of me, I don't know. How did you feel about that? Like, because I know that's kind of divisive. Because some people were like, I wish you'd have died. Because part of me does kind of wish that would have been the end of him. But
It was definitely like an abrupt ending. I don't know if maybe I would have liked him to like crawl out of the vehicle and whether or not there'd be one more moment and it actually be Willa who takes the shot.
mm-hmm.
I think would have been more interesting. I think, and this is another part with the framing where I was like, we have, multiple Black women characters, but at no point are any of these women the protagonist. And I think to center Willa a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
and just to have that, like, I don't know if there's like some sort of final scene between like her biological dad and then her chosen father, I think would have been at least more interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
It also felt like too nice of an ending for him.
That's kind of where I was going to, yeah.
Yeah, like,
It's almost soft in a way.
well, it is because it's like he's all happy, kicks his feet up on the desk, and then he's just like, but like, that's it. And then he just kind of goes, right? We're
It
like bleeding to death with your face ripped off in the car. It's like way better.
so, like, a lot of people have you seen Eddington?
No.
I don't okay, I'm not gonna spoil it, but a lot of people had compared, like, his and the 2 endings,
Yeah.
and I think that the ending of Eddington is I didn't like that movie very much at all, but I thought that it was way more horrific, that ending, than this ending for the bad characters, for the villains. That one was way more like, "Well, that's gotta suck to be him." Whereas this one, it was like, yeah, sure, he got his face blown off. That was not great. He lost an eye, but he also is alive until he's not. And then it was very similar to just dying in your sleep is what it felt like. I think we all wanted that just the cruelty, him to experience a cruel death versus the just like you said, it's kind of soft passing. But maybe that's not realistic too. Maybe these guys don't get that comeuppance in the same way that we'd like. I get it. I want to have my cake and eat it too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, either way, like, I think the message that they wanted to deliver was like, it came across like you're part of the in group until you're no longer useful. Like,
Yes.
they let him kill and round up all of the French 75. He let them take down everybody, have these detention centers, whatever. They find out one thing. They use him to round up the rest. and then kill him because he's now a liability for them. And I think either way the message gets delivered, like just purely from a like character standpoint, it would have been nice to have like it would have been nice to maybe have like an additional thing for Willa to do if we're going to not have him die in the car, because I do also like something about his life just being like done,
Yeah.
like it means nothing.
Right, yeah, that's it, that this garbage human was a piece of trash that got thrown away, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I definitely don't disagree with that. One thing I wanted to touch on, 'cause it kinda goes back to what we were talking about, and it kinda shows, like, the juxtaposition between, like, the Christmas Adventurers Club and the group that was led by Benicio del Toro's character, is, like, on one hand, you, yeah, like we see Leo's character freaking out, right? Like he is like he can't handle himself. But in the background, you see this group.
Ocean waves.
Yes, right. You see this group of people who live under like just some of the worst circumstances of just constantly fearing that they're going to be like thrown into detention camps or kicked out of the country, and just how calm and like orderly they are, and how they have a plan that is 100% just to the T executed. And Sensei Sergio is just in the background kind of just like doing things and moving pieces while he's brushing his teeth. He's like getting things prepared, and he has
Yeah.
everything down. And then on the flip side, you just see like how messy the Christmas Adventures Club is, and they're just using violence to get their way, and they don't care about anybody but themselves, and they're using lockjaw to get what they want and clean up their messes. And there's no real sense of community, and the only thing that they share is their whiteness, right? Whereas this group of immigrants, they bring Bob in, and they're very accepting, and it's like they are just trying to survive. They don't want anything else. They just want to go to work, have a family, eat, have a roof. Like that's, and so I just think that the juxtaposition of just like one side and the chaos and the selfishness versus the other side, which is like very loving and thoughtful, but also just very methodical and under control. I thought was really cool and interesting to see.
I think that we see that in everyday life a little bit. And like, I mean, again, like I'm a white lady, so I've only got like one intersection back. I mean, I've spent my revolution underneath a duvet. Like I'm not like, yeah, yeah. And I mean, so I think, but there is something to that where you live under constant threat a little bit. And I do like not as I do like where I'm nervous, like racially ever. Being a woman, a young woman in the world is really scary. And you have like an airtight, no words system with other women to navigate
Mm,
very calmly. Cause like odds are like you're going out to you're going out to the bar with your friends. You're entering like with a bunch of dudes you don't know. Like this could be really scary really
mm,
fast. And so you got, go to and you instantly, whenever there's like a woman on her own, like you, without any precedent, you're like, okay, here's the plan. We'll go silently, no words. And so I think there's something, I think that is just something people develop out of necessity, where somebody like Leo's character, this is only a problem for him because he chose to engage with it,
right. Yeah.
where he didn't have to. No one would have been, if he didn't join the French 75, Leo would have never been bothered a day in his life. Because he freaks out, he's had no practice.
Right. That's a good point. No, that's a very good point. Right.
And,
He
like, again, like, I'm a white woman, so, like, I am not pretending I am of a big struggle, but I do understand at least some level of, like, what is this like to feel scared in a situation where I know there's other people in the room that are not and
Yeah.
would have no idea that a person would be.
No, I definitely see that too. And that is like basically what you're saying is like it's a trained response, right? Like from, years of just being constantly put in this position where, like you said, it's like, I mean, even just looking at how comfortable Bob was living, right? I mean, he's just getting high and drinking every single day, right? Like he's
Yeah.
just he's miserable to an extent because he misses the love of his life, and he's on the lam, but at the same time it's like he's got a pretty sweet gig because he can just get wasted all the time. You know what I mean? Like it's not like he has to be at the apex of awareness because he's obviously not, right? And that's one thing that I don't think I totally like, obviously hearing you say that, but like until the second time I watched it, I didn't realize like he's pretty much just riding a wave. Like he's not, the sea is not very turbulent, even though it could be at any moment, and he's told to be like ready for this. He didn't completely follow the handbook. He didn't learn the stuff that he was supposed to learn, and so like a lot of it's played for humor, but like at the same time, like there was obviously reasons that those things were put in there, and like he was it felt like he was almost like just really, really secure, even though he's not. And he didn't have to, like you said, he put himself in that position. He never had to experience what was coming for him. Right. That was the first time that he was put under the pressure. The water started to boil for the first time. So I think that's a really interesting viewpoint there because, like, obviously I don't have that, you know, I mean, I guess I'm Irish, and according to
Hey, we're new whites. We're
yeah,
new whites.
yeah, there we go.
Kennedy was great PR for us.
Exactly.
We've been white since Kennedy was in the White House.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, yes. Like they said in Sinners, right?
Like, yeah. Sinners hit weirdly close to home for me. I'm like, I don't think this is supposed to hit this close. Like, I was like, oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was, but yeah, I definitely think that's what it is. Leo's very much like Indiana Jones, where like if you take him out of the story, other than him moving Willa to a different location, like the same shit still the ending is the same. If Leo died in the house, the same ending happens.
right. Yeah, he does. Yeah, his whole path is like everything he's experiencing is just because he's putting himself in every single position. Like you said, like what's happening to her is happening, and it's not like he saves her. She like the moment that right, yeah, it's like you said, not like he, and I think that is obviously intentional, and
Yes.
he is just like kind of causing. The other thing is like he's causing a wake of destruction, right? Like because everywhere he goes, obviously Lockjaw and that are following him, right? So him going to Sensei brings the fire on that, So like it's like his presence is part of the problem,
Yes.
Which again I didn't really catch the first view. This is a movie that really does. It caused some things to stick out in my mind a little bit more, and it didn't change my rating up or down. It just kind of reaffirmed my feelings, I think, more. But it definitely, there are bits and pieces that like I saw and stuck out a lot more on the second viewing, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I felt the same way where there was like a lighter, like there was a much more like not it was still dark and fucked up, but I still could kind of laugh at certain bits, sort of like in No Country for Old Men, where you're like, this is dark and fucked up, but this line, the delivery was just weird, and now I'm laughing.
Right.
Or especially Benicio del Toro, who you're like, this silly motherfucker in the middle of all of this.
Yeah, you can't not laugh at some of his stuff too. Like I said, when he's brushing his teeth and he's like, "Gun," like he's like, "The gun." I love that scene so much. Like I could seriously probably watch that on a loop because
Yeah.
you got Leo freaking out on the phone. You got him in the background, just kind of giving his own little like quippy like things in the background. It's just that is like just pure entertainment for sure.
And yeah, like it was yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, I liked Leo in this, but I felt like I had seen certain versions of Leo doing this before. Like it felt very reminiscent of when he's like freaking out as Rick Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
there are some Jordan Belforty moments, particularly in the first bit.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely agree with that.
Um,
And
I thought it was good. Just
yeah,
it wasn't groundbreaking.
this is going to be controversial, and hopefully I don't offend you, but like, I think Leonardo DiCaprio is a good actor, but I never thought he is great. Like, I always think that like he always gives a quality performance, but he is not as good as the greats. Like, he is just a consistent performer on screen. I've never watched even in The Revenant. Like, that was more just about like him putting himself through torture. Like, right? Like, I've never watched him and been like you said, like that character is super different than this character. Like they all feel like different stages of Leo, just to be honest with you. Not to the same extreme as Brad Pitt plays
No.
Brad Pitt, but like, he's a much better actor than that. But I just don't think that he is like, he's not Daniel Day-Lewis. Like people accuse Denzel Washington of this, but I think Denzel's a far superior actor.
Oh, yeah. Denzel's like in my top 5 of all time. I do really like Leo in most things, although this was like the first time where I was like, oh, this is a repeat of like stuff I've seen. But some of he's just gotten what I feel like less experimental in the last like 5 to 10 years where he's like, "I'm gonna work with, like, a giant director to make a prestige piece."
Mhm.
I didn't care for The Revenant at all. I guess maybe the tip was after Wolf of Wall Street for me, because he used to be a lot more experimental, even working with the same director. Something like Shatter Island is so vastly different than The Departed. And The Aviator. Um, uh, and, like, his early stuff, I think he's so good in, like, The Basketball Diaries and
Yeah.
Was Eating Gilbert Grape, which, I mean, has its problems, but I think he's become, much more comfortable in the last 10 years. I think he's just, hanging out in his yacht and then kicking his girlfriends off the boat when they turn 25.
Ch
Did you see Jennifer Lawrence on her Actors vs. Actors or whatever?
No, what it no, I didn't.
Oh my god, I gotta pull it up. I gotta read it quote for quote. I died.
You're doing that, I wanna bring up one thing
Yes.
because it's on my top of my mind, I don't wanna forget it, is, like, the other part that I felt when I mentioned, like, characters not, like, some of the character arcs, like, felt like we didn't spend enough time to really care about the majority of the French 75. Wood Harris's character, like, there's supposed to be that moment where he's, like, hunkered down in the basement, and we're supposed to, like, care, and it's like, I don't really know who Laredo is as a character, like, so, him dying, like, I don't really feel anything for him. Same thing for Alana Haim's character, Mae West, and, like, for the majority of the other outside of Regina Hall, and then, of course, Bob and Teyana Taylor's character, like, the rest of that group is, like, I just didn't feel any real connection to them at all, and I felt like that was a huge miss.
Yeah, they didn't really we knew they were part of the group, but they really just focused on, Bob and th Teyana Taylor's character specifically.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought the same thing. Like, this could have like, if it had been even if they had just backed up the camera, like, instead
Yeah.
of a close like, just like, there's supposedly 5 people in this car, we're only seeing I mean, I would love to just look at Teyana Taylor's face too, but we could back up slightly.
Right. And even Regina Hall's character, like, we know how important she is to the group because they tell us. Again, this just doesn't feel like something like I'm not used to seeing characters like this underdeveloped in a PTA script. But it's
Mhm.
like, why? Why does she care so much about these people? Like, we haven't seen them interact at all. Like, I don't know why why she loves Perfidious so much. Like, I don't know. Like, obviously, they've been through some crazy shit together, and that's going to pull anybody, right? And they have a end goal, but we never get to see their interactions on screen because, like you said, everything is so focused on Bob and Perfidia. I just felt like it was a miss there.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, because I think the first we really see of, Regina Hall's character is in that scene where Tiana Taylor's pregnant,
Hmm.
and I think it's Regina Hall's character he's talking to, or she's talking to Regina Hall, I can't remember from this morning, but basically having that conversation where Bob's like was like, she doesn't even know she's pregnant. Like, that's the first time we really, like, see her, and I don't even think she has dialogue, I think it's just a nod.
Hmm. Right. Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah.
The what Jennifer Lawrence said is, she said, "I love seeing you as a dad in one battle after another. I'm so sad you don't have a teenage daughter. You always look great with one."
Oh my god, that is so good. I mean, I already love her, but that just made me love her even more. That is so good. Now I'm gonna have to find this and watch it. That is amazing.
It's so funny. Yeah, it's just the actors on actorsing that Variety did.
That is brilliant. I'm sure he loved it. Did he laugh?
Yeah, he did.
That's
But
great.
yeah, he is like I always forget, I think probably because he does like I am too old for Leonardo DiCaprio by like 6 years. I always think we're closer in age than we are. Where I'm
I,
like, you would have been a you would have been a teenage father if you were my father, but
it's still he is aged really well. Like, let's just be
he's
honest.
not a millennial.
No, yeah, you're right. You're
That's
right.
a Gen X man.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to I grew up with him. Obviously, he's about 7 or 8 years older than me, right? Yeah, yeah. I think he's
He's
8.
51.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, so I was born on December 10th. So he's almost sorry, I was born December 11th. His birthday is November 11th. So he's almost exactly 7 years older than me. So, like, obviously I grew up with him. So, and I of course think of myself as I'm still in my 20s. So I'm just like, Leo's what? He's like can't be more than 30.
Yeah.
Getting older stinks. But I mean, I think it's weird too because, it's weird seeing him as a dad, right? Like that. It is weird, right? Because I
Yeah.
mean, even when he does play a dad in other roles, he's playing a young dad with like small kids, right? He's never like a father figure. So it was kind of weird. Now when I watch the movie again, I'm gonna have to like really look at that because it is like kind of bizarre to think of him as a dad. Like maybe that's just a good sign that he did have a good performance because I bought it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was, yeah, it was funny. I loved her on that. I was just like, I died because I mean, I have actors like that too, where they're like only so many years ahead of me. And then
Mhm.
when I look up how old they are, or they talk about, well, I'm whatever, about to be 40. And I'm like, no,
Are you sure about that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, right.
You're 25 and I'm 19. So you can't be
Yeah,
approaching 40.
right. Yeah, I feel you. I hear you. That's
Yeah.
getting old. Getting old sucks.
Or when I watched Anora, I thought the little boyfriend or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, that guy's cute." And then I looked it up, and I felt like a criminal because he was like 19 when we shot that movie, and I was like, "I might not watch this movie again."
Yeah,
Maybe
right. Yeah.
gross. I need to take a shower.
That I mean, that is the thing is like the older you get is like I've learned and having kids obviously affects this too, is like when you see like nudity, like uh, I've talked to before on my podcast about like because nudity is kind of not a thing in mainstream Hollywood anymore, right? Like big movies tend to not have nudity. And I'm actually okay with it because it makes me feel so uncomfortable sometimes seeing because they're like most of the time it's a girl in their 20s. I'm 20 years older. I could technically be their dad. It does make you feel really uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you see watching this sexy. It's like I have a really hard time watching anything with Sydney Sweeney in it because it's just like one, I don't love her as an actress. I don't.
You realize because she's a terrible actress.
Yeah, one is she's not a good actress, but like it's like she's nude in every single like thing she's in, and it's just like I just don't. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Like just I'm starting to hit that age where I realize and it's like that's part of it says like not only can I not date these women, but also it's kind of weird if I would want to. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
so then I don't want to see your skin on screen. So yeah, I feel you with that. But yeah, like I said, there is, nudity is becoming kind of passe in Hollywood, which is kind of interesting. It's a whole other conversation.
Well, I think we're dragging over conservative. That Hollywood always it ebbs and flows like the way, stuff was more like the way, the 50s plunged things into just like a very
Yeah,
sanitized version of everything.
that pendulum that goes back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. We actually, I just was on, KT from Movie Runtime, her podcast, and we were talking about it, and we were talking about, like, how we were comparing both versions of Little Women, the
Hmm.
1994 and the 2000 or the 2019 one, and we're like, "Yeah, it's just weird because like, Timothy Chalamet is so young, he's so boyish, da 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 da." And we're like, "Oh, Christian Bale, like, such, like, a man, like, da 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 da." We, like, looked it up, like, Timmy was, like, 24 and Christian Bale was, like, 19, and we're like, "Ugh."
Wow. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that he was only 19 when he made that.
Yeah, just a
Wow.
baby. We were like, "Oh, okay, well, we don't know what we're talking about then."
Yes. I want to say one more thing. I don't
Yeah.
know what you have left, but like I did want to talk about just some of the technical aspects of the film because I do think this movie looks amazing. I think that it is just gorgeous. There are obviously very few directors left that shoot on film, so I want to give PTA massive props for that. He obviously has a love for the art, adore that. The cinematography done by Michael Ballman, just gorgeous. And then Johnny Greenwood's score, I think, yeah, it's starting to get to a point though where you kind of know a Johnny Greenwood score, kind of like John Williams, where you're like, oh, I know who scored this. But I still think the score is fantastic, and the music in general in this is amazing. Some of the needle drops and just the use of music is really well done in this film.
Yeah, the, like, repeat tension of the score was and sometimes disorienting, but in a way that was great. And yeah, we love directors that shoot on film. There's just a warmth in the on screen that you just don't get without it. Plus, I just feel like it's like the difference between like stage and film. Like there's just something about having a finite thing that you can't just delete, where you more time and care is being taken to the product.
Completely agree. I think that, like, we talk about these tools like, CGI or AI and how they can improve and make things better. But it's like when it comes to art, when things are stripped down and you have to use your brain to get around things, it just seems like that's when the art is elevated, I think that is when things are better. I give James Cameron all the props in the world. My son's obsessed with Avatar. And so we've watched a billion behind the scenes and making of Avatar over the last couple months. And I understand the hard work that man put in to make those movies. But at the same time, like, having to go into the middle of the desert and shoot on film is just as hard. I don't care what anybody says, like, it's just as hard. And at times, I think this looks better than anything that Avatar has ever put on screen, that those films, as good as they look, I'll take this a million times over.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good to know what's coming in the phases because my daughter loves the zombie music as per
Uh,
your son's recommendation.
yes, yes, that's we're still in that phase. We're still there. But yeah, he's kind of moved on to the next thing is Avatar, which, to be honest with you, Holly, I would much rather go back to zombies. Like, the Avatar films are fine, but they are so long. My wife was like, he wants to go see Avatar again this weekend, and I was like, I'm not going. I can't sit in 3 hour and 15. I can't do it. No, but we're still jamming out in the car to some zombies. So, and not the 70s, 60s, 70s band. I'm talking about the soundtrack to Zombies 4 is still in rotation.
It's a banger for anyone that doesn't have kids. It's great. It made me so excited when I saw the casting for Tangled. I was like, yes!
I showed him that, and he was like super excited. He's like, oh, because he calls him Zed. Milo, I can't pronounce his last name. I'm not going to try and butcher it. But he's like, oh, Zed's going to, I'm like, yep. He's like, oh, when does this come out? And he's like counting down the days for sure.
You're like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. My last final thing is, what do you think one battle do you think one battle after another will just go right the way through award season? Do you think this is the best picture this year?
It wouldn't be my choice for best picture. That's hard to say because I love PTA. I think he deserves the award. I think There Will Be Blood should have won it. But that's not how the best film doesn't always win, as we know. It's a political game. It probably will win, to be honest with you. I think it probably will win the award. Do I think it should? No. I would, out of the ones that are probably on the list, I haven't seen Hamnet. I know I've heard really good things about it. Sinners is still, to me, like, should probably win the award. Sovereign isn't nominated and won't be nominated, but to me that was, I think, the best film I saw all year was Sovereign. Sinners is probably right behind it. So, like, if I was voting, I would probably vote for Sinners. For sure. But I do think that it probably will win. I think that PTA is probably going to win Best Director and Best Adapted Screenplay. I think that it'll probably sweep the Oscars. And, I feel bummed because it's so annoying that these awards go this way, because it's like, usually you don't win for your best film. You get snubbed because it's the first or second time that you're nominated, so you don't win the award until you have done your dues. And it's like, Ryan Coogler definitely deserves the award, I think, in my opinion.
For me too, like, I would even kind of be fine if, like, one battle after another won Best Picture, but Ryan Coogler won Best Director.
I
There's some, like, I loved this film. I thought this movie was great. I would recommend it to people, but, like, I felt like I changed as a person when I came out of Sinners. I was like, what the fuck happened in there? I came out a different, the I lied to you sequence, or even Pale Pale Moon, or Rocky Road to Dublin. Anybody with Irish ancestry, that made some come alive that's still awake there.
Totally agree.
I think it'll sweep. I don't think Leo will take Best Actor for
No.
sure.
No.
I think I don't want it to go to Timothée Chalamet, but I think it's going to.
Yeah, I do too. So I didn't like Marty Supreme all that much. Like, I gave it a positive review, but it wasn't, I don't understand all the praise it's getting. I think I gave it a 7 out of 10. I think that the middle part of that movie is just very repetitive and it's hitting the same beats over and over again. But I do think his performance is really good. I think that, honestly, I think it's it's probably like, I would say I'm gonna rank my performances for you. Sorry.
You go.
So,
I love it.
I think Nick Offerman's performance in Sovereign is the best thing I saw all year. I think Michael B. Jordan's performance in Sinners is number 2. Number 3 is Glenn Close in Wake Up Dead Man, which is phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend it. And then I would say probably Taylor for One Battle After Another, and Chalamet would be fifth for Marty Supreme. Those are probably the top five, in my opinion, performances of the year. So like it's hard to like argue that Chalamet gets the award, but I think that there was plenty of performances. Teyana Taylor, I think, if out of everyone, I want her to win the most, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like she's the one that if she doesn't win, that's going to be the one that I'm kind of just like bummed about.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. She was the big standout for me in this film. For best actor, same, I want Michael B. Jordan hands down to win. I think there's many, many reasons that he won't win, largely political. I think it's awfully suspicious they dropped that in a dump month. It was such an amazing film. Why was that not an October release date or September even?
Can you imagine how much more money it would have made? I mean, it made a butt ton of money, but it could have probably, like you said, like if it was put in a month where people typically go see films, it would have made a lot more money probably. Like it blows my mind.
Or despite an absolute marketing campaign that did nothing for it, it still did amazing.
Yeah.
A couple of my favorite performances are from Sinners, Michael B. Jordan being one of them, Delroy Lindo.
Oh, he's fantastic as well.
He's, if I'm ranking just performances, male, female, through whatever, Delroy Lindo is my performance of the year. I thought he was just tremendous. And Michael B. Jordan, Teyana Taylor. I haven't seen Hamnet either. I want to.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, you got a kid, you only got so much time in a day. I'll get there. I love Chloe Zhao. I think she's great. But yeah, those are my big ones. Timothy Chalamet. There's something about the Safdie brothers that hit the same level as the Nolan film bros that are also part of the Tarantino film bros. There's
Mhm.
or the people that really grabbed on the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. Yes. Just say it, the film bros. That's for sure. That's what they are.
The film bros. I think that's why Marty Supreme is getting this kind of cachet a little bit
Mhm.
with everything. It's fine. It's okay. I don't know how many more ambitious dick films I need to watch. I'll still go.
Right.
And I love Timothy Chalamet, but I think Call Me By Your Name was his year.
Again, yeah, that's another good point is it never seems to go to the person the year they deserve it. It's it's always have you paid your dues yet kind of thing.
Except last year from Mikey Madison. That was the one where I was
Right.
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, every once in a while the Academy will stumble and make it right, like the year that Moonlight won. And even I think last year, I think they got most of the categories right for the most part last year. But it's usually have you paid your dues yet? It's just, I kind of to be honest with you, I used to be all about award season. I used to I would do a poll where I would have my coworkers and they're they didn't see half these films. It's put down who you think's going to win what. Well, I'll put in a $5 and whoever gets the most right wins. And they're you're just trying to steal our money, that kind of thing. But I would be so into it. And now, honestly, over the last few years, I've just kind of been, I don't want to say jaded isn't the right word. It's just I care less and less about it, because when you just consistently see the best pictures not get nominated or not get rewarded, and the best performances just be, it sucks. It sucks for everyone. You did mention Chloe Zhao, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention this because we talked about it on the last podcast, but the Buffy the Vampire reboot is coming, and she's bringing it. So anyways, I'm excited.
We have to do an episode together where we both watch the pilot or whatever of the new one and then
Absolutely. I've already planned on having you on my podcast when it comes out, so for sure.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, my husband is we've been trying to find time, but there's been a lot of things on the list to watch. But he's into it because he listened to our podcast and he's Brian seems cool. We should watch Buffy. I'm Brian's influencing the media in our house.
Yes, honestly, I swear, if I that is the one thing I want people to watch is Buffy. It sounds crazy, and I know there are a lot of things that people, but I just the whole Stranger Things. I don't know if you watch Stranger Things, but the whole thing with Will coming out and the ball that was dropped there, and I'm just should have watched Buffy. The way they handle Willow coming out is just so beautiful. And it was right there, and you just follow that pattern, and you totally missed a huge opportunity. And that show was made 20 years ago and they were doing it better. You know what I mean? It's like,
Oh, no, I totally understand. We will get to Buffy right now. He hadn't seen the Golden Girls, and so I was like, this is an
oh,
absolute priority.
absolutely.
And that's the same thing too, like, we talk about my husband and we were laughing so hard, and I was like, "Has anybody" we're like, everybody's talking about, like, wokeness or whatever, and I was like, "Has anybody watched this show?" I'm like, "This
Right.
is woke as hell, it's just 1985."
Right. Yes, exactly. I mean, how edgy was that show when you go back and think about it? Like, just, I love that show too. Golden Girls is a staple for sure.
Oh, so good. I was like he had never seen it, and I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, once we get through Golden Girls, then we'll get Buffy," and then he had never seen Roseanne either. He had never seen Friends when we started dating. We've
Wow.
had to work through a lot of TV.
And it's hard too, because like, that was back then they were making 22 episode seasons. So, 26, so there's a lot of, TV to watch, right? I mean, like, and that it's daunting, but yeah, I need to rewatch the Golden Girls. That's probably next on my list because that show, I mean, thinking about it now is like, I watched that as a young teen or, preteen, like, and to think about it, it's like, I'm watching older women a show about 4 older women, and I loved it as a 11, 12-year-old like that. You know what I mean? Like couldn't wait to watch reruns.
Yeah.
It's weird to think about now.
Yeah, and it holds up. Like, there's yet to I mean, I mean, I've had it on DVD for forever. We've yet to run into a joke where I'm like, anytime one of those little statements it's always by like the character that you're supposed to be like, that person's an idiot.
Yeah, right. Just such a well-written show, right? I mean, that is just like Susan Harris, right? Isn't she the creator, I think, of it?
I'd have to look.
Yeah, okay, I found it. Yeah, Susan Harris. Susan Harris. Yeah. And, she wrote on things like All in the Family, The Partridge Family. She definitely served her dues to get that show. And she obviously was super talented. She's I mean, I guess she had some other TV credits after that, but man, kudos to her
Yeah,
because she made a all-time great show.
absolutely. And if anybody is wanting a recommendation, you gotta read Rue McClanahan's autobiography. She is Blanche, and she ranks her lovers on a report card grading system.
Oh my word. I'm gonna have to
I
check
need
this
to hear
out.
about every single one that she remembers the names of.
Wow.
The best. She is iconic. I loved it.
I did not know that I did not know that. I'm gonna have to check. What's that called? What?
Well, I can't remember the name of the book. I just remember it was her memoir.
See if I can find it. I have her wiki pulled up. You would think that it would be right there.
My First Five Husbands.
Well, that's an awesome title too. Okay, I'm gonna have to probably do audiobook because I don't have a lot of time to read. So,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna definitely check this out. That is awesome. What a great title for a book.
Yeah, she's fucking awesome. I don't know how we got from one battle after another to Blanche
Golden
Devereaux,
Girls.
but I'm glad we got here.
We got here. I love it. It's been
Well,
fun.
I should probably let you go, Brian, but thank you so much for chatting with me about this. I appreciate your time so much.
Thank you for having me on. It's a blast. I could talk to you for another hour, but yeah, it's getting late here. Thank you so much, and we'll be in touch, and I can't wait to have you on my show too.
Yeah, thanks.